Okay, so from homework, some people, when they were doing their assignment, they said that they had difficulty with question 5. Now, I can't do the actual assignment question, but we can do one that's reasonably similar. So we've made this one up over here. And what's the first thing that we have to do when we're dividing by a fraction? Okay, we're going to keep the first one. So let's put the equals there, and we do everything underneath. So nice and neat. So we're not changing that one at all, although as we're doing it, we do look to see, could we cancel anything? Is there a number that goes into 30 and 49? And in this case, there isn't, so we just write it. Now we're going to change the divide to a times, because that's how we deal with dividing fractions, and we have to flip the other fraction. So we're going to flip that, and that's going to be 35b squared all over 12a. And again, we ask ourselves, is there something that goes into 35 and 12? Can't see it at the moment. So now we're going to play with our cancelling. Now when we cancel fractions, we're allowed to cancel up and down, and we're allowed to cancel diagonally, but we cannot cancel horizontally, okay? So you couldn't go, 5 goes into 30 and 35. That's illegal. But we can say, well, hang on, what about 49 and 35? Now 7 goes into both of them. So 7 goes into 35 5 times, and 7 goes into 49 7 times. And I should have said, sorry about that, but you should have said, you could have just times the tops and the bottoms, okay? So when we are timesing fractions, if we have a over b times c over d, well, that just becomes a times c over b times d. Now we could absolutely do that in this case, but I don't want to work with 30 times 35 and 49 times 12 if I don't have to. So if I can cancel, that's going to be really good. So now I'm looking at the other numbers here, 30 and 12. And we go, oh, 3 goes into both. But then I check, is there a bigger number? And of course 6 does. So 6 goes into 12 twice, and 6 goes into 30 5 times. Okay? So we've done the big numbers, and now we can look at the letters. And again, because we've got an A here and an A here, upstairs, downstairs, but there's a times in the middle, well, A divided by A cancels out. And B, I can cancel out this squared, because remember, B squared is B times B. And if I'm then dividing that by B and dividing by B, they cancel, and I'm left with just B. So now, if you've done this neatly, you should be able to read your work and go 5 times 5 is 25, and we've still got a B there. And downstairs, 7 times 2 is 14, and each of those letters, pronumerals, cancelled out. So if you're messy, if you can't read your own writing, this then becomes an issue, and you're probably going to make a mistake. So best to write big, write clearly. I would even recommend getting another colour. We check before we move on, is there a number that goes into 25 and 14? No, there's not. Bang, we're done. Okay, so now in the lesson you're going to be continue working on your solving equations, and we'll look at some problem solving, worded problem solving in a bit. Okay, so I forgot to record for the rest of the lesson, so we're just picking this up and I'm redoing what we did in class. So on your OneNote, if you go to the problem solving section, you should be able to see this task. Now these are fantastic questions, absolutely love them. I think there's 24 or 25 all up there. What we are going to be doing, we're going to be looking at 5, 6, 9, 14, 15 and 19. By all means, you can do more. The actual answers are up there, but we're going to go through these ones because, again, time issue. Okay, so you go, give you a minute to start, and then we'll have a look. So pause the video, have a look at these questions, see how much you can do, and then you can come back to the video and I'll work them through. So let's have a look at the first two. So if you couldn't get started, that's okay, but now just listen. So we've got the sum. So the first thing we're noticing there is that sum, and I hope we all know that sum means to add together. The sum of two numbers, right, we add them together. So the sum of 4 and 6 would be 10. Now we're going, well, what does consecutive mean? So we asked around the class and somebody said it's one after the other. Okay, so consecutive numbers, 10, 11. If you've got 3 consecutive numbers, 20, 21, 22, right? So one after the other. So when we add these 2 consecutive numbers together, it gives us an answer of 99, and we want to find those 2 numbers. So we're going to start by saying, well, do we know what one of those numbers is? No. So we're going to call it x. That means the next number, so the next consecutive number is 1 more than x. So that's why we write it as x plus 1. All right, now we're going to go, let's sum those numbers, and it equals 99. So x plus 1 equals 99. And now we're going to rock our algebra skills here. So we're going to gather our like terms. 1x plus another x is 2x. We've still got that plus 1, so keeping everything underneath each other. And now we have to solve. So x times 2 plus 1, the first thing we're going to do is get rid of the plus 1. So remember, to get rid of the plus 1, we're taking 1 from both sides. What I like to do is do that. Okay, to get rid of the plus 1, it goes over the other side and we take 1. So I will write 2x equals 99, take 1, therefore 2x equals 98. And now to get rid of a times 2, we're going to divide both sides by 2. Or in other words, what do I do to get rid of this times 2? I divide the other side by 2. So 98 over 2, and we get x equals 49. Now you haven't finished, because remember it did say what are the 2 numbers. So we've got the 2 numbers, one is 49 and the next consecutive one is 50. And just double check, is 50 plus 49 equal to 99? Absolutely, we know we're right, we move on. All right, pause the video, see if you can have a go at number 6. So these questions, one of the reasons I love these questions is because it makes you remember, and if you didn't remember, some basic maths properties. Okay, so with this one, this is called the exterior angle of a triangle. So if I have, go here, let's make a little triangle like so. All right, if I have this angle here being 30, and we'll say that this one is 100, I want to find out what this angle is. Now, what we can do is we can find this angle first, because we know there's 180 degrees in a triangle. So if I've used up 100 plus another 30, so out of the 180, I've used up 130, that means this angle has to be 50. Now, how does that help me find this angle here? Well, there's 180 degrees in a straight line. So if I go 180, take 50, guess what? I get 130, and that just happens to be this angle and this angle added together. So that hopefully reminds you of this property. It's called the exterior angle of a triangle, that if I have angle A and I have angle B, this angle here will always be A plus B. Freaky how it works. Love it. So if we apply that over here, what that means is if I add this angle plus this angle, it's going to have to equal this angle. So that's exactly what we write. I'm going to say 4x plus 30 has to equal 6x, take 10. And now we play the game of let's get x by itself. So in order to do that, we first have to get all the x's on one side. Now most of you, when we asked the class, they all said, I want to put it on the left. Fair enough. So that means I have to get rid of this 6x. And we look in front, because that's a plus 6x, to undo it, we have to subtract 6x. So this one is gone, and it's going to be 4x minus 6x. Okay, now while I'm here, I'm going to say, well, when I remove that 6x, I'm left with minus 10. And I'm also going to get this 30, it doesn't have an x, so it's not going to stay on the left-hand side, it's going to go to the right. So how do I get rid of a plus 30? Yeah, you guessed it, we're going to take 30 and we do that to the other side. Okay, and now we tidy up. So 4x take 6x is minus 2x. Minus 10 take 30, give you 10, give you another 30, that means I've given you 40. How do I get rid of a times negative 2? We're going to divide by -2. Now, two negatives make a positive, therefore x is 20. Okay, we check. It didn't ask us to find the actual angles. It asked us to just find x, so we are done. Onward. So again, pause the video, try and do these by yourself, then start the video up if you get stuck. Okay, we've got a rectangle is 4 centimetres longer than it is wide. Its perimeter is 64. So there's a bit of information, and a rectangle 4 centimetres longer than it's wide. So if you're stuck, even if you're not stuck, I would still recommend that you draw a diagram so the marker understands what you are doing. So we know that the perimeter is 64. It says one length, we're going to call that the length, is 4 centimetres longer than it's wide. So if this is the width, how do we say this is 4 centimetres longer? Well, I hope you realise, yes, that is W plus 4. Now we just finished a unit on measurement, so hopefully that is still fresh in your mind. We know that the perimeter of a rectangle is 2 lengths plus 2W. So you could write 64 equals 2 times. In fact, I'm going to write that a little bit better. I'm going to say that's 2 times. Do it even better. 2 times length plus W. Okay, what is my length and my W length? So the length is W plus 4, the width is W, and away we go. 1W plus another W is 2W plus 4. Now you've got choices here. You could expand the brackets if you want to. I'm actually going to say we'll get rid of a times 2, divide by 2. So I end up with 32 equals 2W plus 4. And what some students might do is they might not have done any of this. They might have gone straight to this step here, which is technically what I would have done, because you would have just added up the length and the width, and you know it's half, like that plus that is going to be half of. Now some students made an error. They drew the diagram, and instead of adding the sides together, they times them together. So they weren't doing the perimeter, they were doing the area. So do make sure that you read your question properly. All right, continue. How do I get rid of, all right, I want to get W by itself. How to get rid of a plus 4? Absolutely, we're going to take 4. Okay, 32 take 4, we get 28 equals 2W. And to get rid of a times 2, I mean, you can say 2 times what gives you 28? Well, W has to be 14. If you couldn't see that, to get rid of a times 2, you have to divide by 2. 28 divided by 2 is 14. Now we're going to check what the question's asked us. It says find its dimensions. So we've got W is 14, and then we said the other length was 4 more than this. So therefore the length would be 18. Make sure you finish and answer the whole question. Okay, again, stop the video and you try the next question. Triangle has an area. We've got a triangle and we've got area. So I hope one of the first things that you do is write down area. Oops. Area equals base times height. Oh, my pen is playing up at the moment. All right, so we've got base times height over 2. And then we're going to put our information in. So instead of A, we know the area is 54. We put underneath the equal sign. So this is really important, why we need to be neat and write everything down. It makes life so much easier for ourselves. The base is 6 and our height is 2x minus 2. Now we have to be a bit careful here because we want to times all of this by 6. So how do we indicate that? Correct, we have to have brackets around it. And they gave you the hint, they already had the brackets there. Back to our formula, what did it say? It's got base times height, but we had to divide by 2. And here we go. We could get rid of the divide by 2 and times. Up there, that's fine. But what I'm going to do is simplify this. So 6 over 2, that is 54 equals 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, once again, quite entitled to times, expand the bracket and times through, or we can check, does 3 go into 54? And that might make life a little bit easier for ourselves. So 3 goes into 5 once, 2 left over. I mean, use your calculator if you want to. So we got rid of that times 3, we divided 3. Again, if you wished to expand the brackets, then you could have done that and solved it as per usual. Let's get rid of the take 2. We're going to add 2 to the other side, running out of room there. So 2 times something equals 20. Therefore, x is 10. Find x. That's all we needed to do. Bang. Okay. As I said from the get-go, I like these because it was making you remember some properties of maths. So co-interior angles in a parallelogram. So a parallelogram, it has 2 pairs of parallel sides. And the property that we want to try and remember is that if I've got A and I've got B here, then A plus B, do you remember what they have to equal? So the 2 angles inside parallel lines adds up to be 180 degrees. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to write that property. We're going to say if the 2 angles are 2a plus 6 plus 36 and 3a take 11, then 2a plus 36 plus 3a take 11, that has to equal 180. Let's gather up our like terms. So 2a plus 3a, we've got 5a. 36 take 11, right? Those are like terms there. I'll underline them for you if you like and look in front. So 36 take 11 is 25. And we're back to solving one of those simple equations. So a times 5 plus 25. The last thing we did was the plus 25, so that's the first thing that we have to undo. Okay, again, if it helps you to write the take 25, 25 take 25 disappears, and do that, that's fine. I'm a fan of just saying I wanted to get rid of this plus 25, so I had to take 25 from the other side. So now we've got 5a equals 155. Check that, 165. No, that's right, 155. And therefore, to get rid of the times a, we have to divide by, to get rid of the times 5, we have to divide by 5. So that will be 31. Okay, you haven't finished because it said, how big is the obtuse angle? So this one here, well, the smallest one will be the acute angle. So let's work them both out. So we've got 2a plus 36. We're saying a is 31. So we're going to say 2 times 31 plus 36. So we get 62 plus 36, and that is 98 degrees. Now that's bigger than 90 degrees, so that would be my obtuse angle. If I pop 3 times, oh, what's that going to be? 93, yeah, take 11, that's less than 90, so that would be the acute angle. So that one is my obtuse. Okay, nearly there. We've got trapezium and we've got area. So it's a quick flick back in our books and look for the area of a trapezium. So it says take the 2 parallel sides, add them together, divide by 2, and then times by the vertical height. So that's my vertical height, that's my A, and that's my B. We're going to sub our information in. So area is 22. Bracket, we've got A plus B, so I'm writing x plus 3. You could have said 3 plus x, it doesn't matter. All over 2. And it says times the height, which is 4. Now again, you can do a whole lot of stuff here. This is the same as x plus 3 all over 2 times 4. And so to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to say, well, 2 goes into 4 twice. So now I've got, and you might not have to write this line, so x plus 3 times 2, that's the same as 2 times x plus 3. And away we go again. You've got choices. You can expand the brackets, but because this is a times here, I could also get rid of that times by dividing. If that wasn't even, so if that was 21, I would expand the brackets. Because it's even, I'm going to get rid of the the times by 2 by dividing. So 22 divided by 2 is 11 equals x plus 3. Therefore, x must be 8. 8 plus 3 is 11, or 11 take 3 is 8. And that's all we had to do was find x. So look, I hope that helps you how we do some of these worded problems, but it starts by drawing a diagram if you need to, choosing a formula, substituting it in, and then seeing how you go. Good luck. Try some more of those. They're quite cute.